Hello, good morning and welcome to today's morning report on Tuesday the 25th of November with me, Richard Perry, market analyst at Handtech Markets. The European trading session has started on a fairly positive note, mildly positive I would say though. Once again, Wall Street just pushing to just slight gains, 0.3% up on the S&P 500, yet another all-time closing high for the S&P. Asian markets reasonably mixed, slight bit of gains on the Nikkei, but it just seems as though that generally investors are fairly sort of mildly cautious and with a slight positive skew, but just in light of I think what's approaching towards the end of the week with this big OPEC meeting on Thursday. A lot of US data out today as well, which could have an impact on the market. So just in front of all that, I think we're seeing a slight air of a little bit of positive caution. In terms of FX, the dollar is just slightly gaining ground once more. Not a huge amount on upside in terms of the dollar index, but certainly the dollar does seem to be reasonably positive pretty much across the board in terms of Forex majors today. The only real exception being the yen that has strengthened slightly this morning. Gold and silver again pretty much flat. And that is a bit of a theme really going on at the moment. Really, a bit of consolidation really. But as I said earlier about the equity markets that continue to edge higher, this VIX index, for example, in the US continues to fall away, and that's actually hit the lowest level since September now, overnight today. So it just shows how markets have settled down so significantly since that October spike, lower in the markets and higher in volatility, and volatility is really is edging out of the market once again. So that is an interesting thing to note as well. But that sort of takes me on to the announcements of today, which is mainly dollar focused and US focused. We've got the second reading of US GDP. This is a bit of an odd chart actually on Reuters. This is the second reading of GDP in Q2, so the preliminary reading. But GDP in Q2 ended up being plus. Well, I mean the ended up. I mean GDP in Q2 basically was 4.2%. On an annualized basis, and the first reading of Q3 GDP actually was 3.5%. So we need to be looking out for 3.3% being the expectation this month, and that is out at 1:30. Then we've got the Case-Shiller Home Prices Index at 2 o'clock, which could well have an impact. That is a well-watched indicator. And then at 3 o'clock, probably more so of an impact, is the consumer confidence, especially in front of Black Friday. It could have a further improvement. It's been improving strongly throughout 2014. It's actually beaten expectations on 4 out of the past 5 months on consumer confidence. That comes out 3 o'clock. 96.0 is the expectation there. Okay, so onto my chart of the day. Sorry, that's quickly is the consumer confidence. Onto my chart of the day, which is the euro yen. Euro yen's an interesting one actually, because we've had a very strong run higher since that key October low. But there are now a few signs of correction coming in through. You could argue that that is a bit of a shooting star that we saw on last Thursday. Additionally, within that, in terms of a 3 candlestick formation, you could also argue that that is a bit of an evening star candlestick formation, where you get a strong green candle. You then get a sort of a slightly toppy candle, and then a strong bearish candle on the downside. So that was last week, and sort of the moves that we've seen since then are sort of suggesting that certainly on the momentum indicators, that maybe there is something in a correction coming through, because you've got the RSI that's broken back below 70 and now failing to reach back above 70, so that's a concern. Also, the stochastics have given a confirmed sell signal. MACD lines coming together and potentially losing upside impetus as well. So We've got on the intraday hourly chart still this uptrend that is intact here across the past few weeks, and I think if that started to break down, I think you could well imagine that we could well be through into a bit of a topping scenario. The key support on that, if I zoom in slightly there, is that key reaction low at 145.55, which was from yesterday. So if we start to see that level breached to the downside, I think that that could well start to gather some downside momentum in a correction, because we have had this strong move higher, and it could start to retrace back into this sort of support band that comes in between 142, 144 sort of area, and that that could well be seen. Certainly, if you look at the stochastics, last time we had a crossover sell signal, we had a fairly consistent decline after that, and we could well see that sort of situation happen again. But I wish you good luck in your trading today. I think that what would negate this pattern obviously would be move back above the high, which is 49.12, but you'd start to think about, I think there's being a resistance, certainly near-term resistance around that 147.40 area, which was a bit of a support, and that has subsequently turned into resistance overnight. So I think a move above 147 and 147.12, but then also this band of resistance as well around 148 as well. So sort of a 100 pips worth of resistance there, or well 90 pips say worth of resistance between 147.10, 148 figure. I think if it started to move above that, then maybe that would be sort of the end of a potential correction. But at the moment, it sort of looks like it's potentially topping out on the daily chart, but we'll wait and see what happens. Anyway, I wish you good luck in your trading today on Euro Yen, and I'll speak to you later. Thank you.